We begin the button calculate click event procedure by declaring all the necessary variables for this event procedure, which are dim price, options, trade in with a capital N, down payment with a capital P, rate, amount, and payment, all as double, and of course term as integer as we had before, and then setting the payment list box, clearing the payment list box after each one of the uses of after each of the clicks to calculate to get the new clean output. Next, we want to make sure that the user enters a sales price, otherwise the program would simply not be able to produce a meaningful result. If the user does enter something, the leave code makes sure that it's a legitimate price. So we are safe in converting string to double with cdbl function and assigning into the price variable. At this time, and before all the additions with options and subtractions with trade-in and down payment, the amount financed is the current agreed upon sales price. All this can be accomplished with the following code, and put it right after the first comment and go like this. If txt price.text is blank, then we send a message box show property that says something like sales price must be entered, please try again. We send focus back to the txt price. We don't need to clear it because it's already blank, and then we exit the sub. Otherwise, and I'm not sure why it's forcing me to type else if, too smart for its own good, we are good to go and set the price variable to c double of txt price, and then after that set the current amount finance to the agreed upon selling price. Let's save it, run it. If we type anything that it's not legit, like a random string, it's not going to allow us to do the calculation. The sales price must be a number. If we type a negative number, it's going to say it must be positive. It's only after we type 12,000 or some legitimate positive number that is not going to pop up with any of the messages. We continue by dealing with the car options, all of which will ultimately increase the selling price. First, we set the options variable to 0 right after the next, and this is where the amount was supposed to be. Got a little too many comments. Right after the third comment, we'll set the options to 0, and then we're going to test one by one if a particular checkbox is checked. If it is, we're going to add the appropriate amount to the options variable, increasing the value of the transaction in the process. At the end, we're going to increment the amount financed by the options value. So the code is as follows. If chk option letter seats dot checked, so if it's checked, then options will be increased by $2,000. And if, it's a simple if. Same thing for the all the other checkboxes. So we're going to copy paste the code and make modifications like this. Okay, if chk opt power locks tab is checked, we increase it by $500. I'm going to paste it again, and we'll look at navigation. If that one's checked, we'll add 1,000. And finally, for the fourth and the last option, which is the park assist, we're going to add 5,000. Then after the next comment, we're going to increase the amount financed by the value of the options. Okay, if we save and test it, let's enter a legitimate price of 12,000, and for example choose letter seats and navigation options, which are valued at $3,000 together, so the resulting sales price should be $15,000. And the only way we can check that is if we type a message box, or rather message box dot show amount, save, run, type 12,000, and check these two. 15,000 it is. Okay, we're going to delete the message box and move on. The next item we need to look at is the trade-in value. We already know that if the check trade-in checkbox is not checked, we don't even see the trade-in text box, and therefore, we're not in a position to enter a trade-in value. If the checkbox is checked, however, we expect the user to enter a value, but will not force the user to do so. Instead, if the text box is empty, we'll assign 0 to trade-in value, just like we will for the case when we can't even see the text box. So, if the text box is not empty, txt trade-in leave event assures us that the value is legit, so we can safely convert it into a variable with a C double function. If the check-in trade box is not checked, there is no trade-in value, so the trade-in variable must be 0. The total amount financed is now reduced rather than increased by the trade-in value, and the code is as follows: if chk trade-in dot checked, then now we need to test whether the txt trade-in dot text is blank. If it is, trade-in variable is 0. If it's not, we know it's a legitimate value because the leave event guarantees us that. So trade-in variable is C double of trade-in txt trade-in dot text box. Okay. If the checkbox is not checked, then obviously the trade-in value is 0. Okay, and then after the next comment, we are going to reduce the amount, so minus equal, by the trade-in value. And then we have to put a message box to show the effect. Okay, so save, run. Okay, I misspelled something here, so we'll fix it. Txt trade, yes, save, run. 12,000. Letter seat navigation add to 15,000, and if we trade in 5,000, we should get a message box showing 10. And this is a good place for us to stop.